Mary Mac Bakehouse has fresh baked goods and all of our baking mixes at the Shenango Community Farmers Markets on Tuesday afternoons from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. every week through the beginning of September. It's at Shenango Commons, formerly known as Lawrence Village Plaza, in Newcastle, Pennsylvania. And for more triangulation of directions, we're in the parking lot of the old Kmart behind the new Coney Island. Check Facebook. All the info is on there. We'll be posting about it on our Instagram, Facebook every week when it happens. We'll have pictures on Mary Mac Bakehouse social media. The Shenango Community Farmers Market.
Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Mary Mac. Today we're talking about s'mores. These are emergency s'mores today. They're oven s'mores. You know, like if it's raining when you're having your cookout, or if it's really too hot outside to build a fire and cook over it, you know, that kind of thing. So these s'mores are really simple to make in your oven. They come together really quickly. They're great for a crowd. So I'm going to talk about s'mores a little bit, a little s'mores history, and then I'm going to give you my brilliant oven s'mores recipe.
Would you say we're having s'more history?
You're going to have some more history about s'mores, or some more history about s'mores. So, according to Wikipedia, which is one of the favorite things I like to say, according to Wikipedia, this sounded pretty legit though. The first known recipe, in quotations, because how much of a recipe can you have for s'mores? The first time somebody got this great idea and wrote it down was in a Campfire Marshmallows cookbook, which I assume was a brand of marshmallows, Campfire Marshmallows. I think it is. It must have been a little cookbook because, you know, back in the old days, everybody had a cookbook. Every food, every appliance, every business, they all had little cookbooks. So this was in the Campfire Marshmallows cookbook in the early 1920s, where it was called a graham cracker sandwich. And I thought, if you ever watched the PBS documentary on the national parks, you would find out that about the time that the national parks were beginning to become America's greatest idea, Americans were beginning to really embrace camping because they had these things called automobiles that you could load up with stuff and drive somewhere. So it was like a very adventurous group of people out there living the life, going to parks and going camping. So these little things were all a part of that experience. And I thought that was so interesting that it came about at the same time. A lot of things were happening back then. The Girl Scouts were becoming a big movement in the United States. The Campfire Girls were becoming a big movement. The Boy Scouts. So all these things were coming together to create things that you cooked over a fire and ate. In 1927, a recipe for a some more was published in the Tramping and Trailing with the Girl Scouts newspaper, which was a newspaper that the Girl Scouts sent out to their members. So it was a some more. It didn't take a really long time before people to smear that together, and that probably happened in Western Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we really love to just smush words together. I'd say Americans as a whole, we love just smushing words up.
So about 1938, the term s'mores starts showing up in these recipe publications for summer camps. So, you know, summer camps that you sent your kids away to, if you were very wealthy and could afford to do that, were a big thing, still are in some parts of the country, but the s'mores were included in their publications that helped them to plan their meals for the summer for the kids. I imagine that they were a big hit, you know, with kids especially, because, I mean, how could you go wrong? They're really easy. They only have 3 ingredients, and you get to burn up marshmallows on sticks, so it's an activity too.
They are incredibly messy to eat, which is always a plus with little kids camping outside. You just get disgusting. Yeah, and then it's great.
And it keeps you busy licking your fingers off for a good half hour. So by 1957, this is when it all gets to be legit, okay? Betty Crocker gets on board and puts a recipe for s'mores, S''MORES, in their cookbook. It's real now. This cements the s'mores recipe of 2 graham crackers, a square of chocolate, and a toasted marshmallow for all eternity. It has now become a real food.
Now, in terms of recipes, if anyone has watched the Great British Bake Off, that is not a s'more. What they did as a s'more,
I didn't see that.
don't watch it. You'll be furious.
Did they brutalize the s'more?
They did 2 digestives that you had to
Oh,
make
yes.
from scratch, round,
Okay.
coated in like a chocolate ganache,
Oh.
and then an Italian meringue that was full, and you didn't want it to get like sticky and gloopy. They wanted it to be like firm, and made this sandwich. It's not. It's a dessert. I'll grant them that. It's absolutely not a s'more.
That's terrible and sad. It makes me sad. Well, we're going to tell them how to make a s'more. It makes me laugh that there's even a recipe for s'mores, but I guess you do need it with that British Bake Off thing happening. That's a travesty. Goodness gracious.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so basically, I assume there could be people listening that don't live in the United States or Canada, which that's where s'mores are very popular. If you don't have graham crackers in your country, I could see that, which I heard that they're not easy to find in Great Britain. So that could be a thing. A graham cracker is just a cracker made out of graham flour with a little bit of sugar in it, so it's not super sweet. They come in a rectangular shape. You snap them in half, making 2 squares. Then you take a marshmallow and you toast it carefully over a fire. Don't light it on fire.
I mean, you can.
Well, you can if you like them.
It's good that way too.
I do like them like that. I like them flamed up, but not completely.
If you get them like nicely golden brown on all sides, the inside should be like perfectly melty.
Yes.
But it is also fun to burn them.
So you take a square of chocolate. The size can be of your choosing. Assembling them, you can do it however you want. You can use as much chocolate as you want. Use your marshmallow. You want a 1 graham cracker, chocolate, marshmallow, graham cracker. Squish it together. Let it sit a minute while the hot marshmallow melts the chocolate. And bada bing, bada boom, you have a s'more.
And when you take a bite out of it, it will probably squish out the sides and burn the sides of your mouth. And that's the camping experience.
Hurrah! So, with my emergency oven s'mores,
Slightly less danger involved.
slightly less danger. These come together pretty quick, and I make 30 of them at a time. You don't have to. I just do that because that's what fits on my pan, and I'm kind of funny that way. But you could use a smaller pan. So what you'll need is a rimmed baking sheet. I used a half sheet. You can use a quarter sheet, but you want to have a rimmed edge on it so that your graham crackers don't go shooting off into your oven. You need a box or a box and a half of graham crackers. You need a 6-pack of Hershey bars. If you do the full 30, you use like 5 candy bars. You need a bag of mini marshmallows. You'll also need parchment paper, wax paper, and some Scotch tape. So what you want to do is line your pan with parchment paper and then carefully break the graham crackers in half. So place the halves on your parchment-lined baking sheet, and then you're going to get your chocolate bars and you're going to break them into squares. On a Hershey bar, they're little rectangles. There are 12 little rectangles. So from the 12 little rectangles, you get 6 little squares, 2 little rectangles each. That's a lot of chocolate because the way these go, they melt off. So if you want a whole lot more than that, it's going to be super messy. When you put the Hershey bars on your graham crackers, put them in the middle, and then you're going to, in your oven, put the oven rack, the second slot down from the top. Place your pan in the oven under the broiler for 1.5 minutes. Now, my oven has a setting, low broiler and high broiler. I did mine on low broiler for 1.5 minutes. But if you only have like one broiler setting, I would do about a minute, like just watch them, and the chocolate will get shiny. As soon as that chocolate starts to get real shiny, you know it's melted. Then take them out carefully using your oven mitts and set them on either your stove top or your work surface. And sprinkle the mini marshmallows all over the top of them and try to get them so there's not too many gaps, so you have pretty good coverage. You don't want them to be piled up, but you want them to be covering all over all of your little graham crackers with a chocolate piece on them. Then carefully put that into the oven for about a minute to brown up those marshmallows and make them melt a little bit. Once those are browned up, remove it from the oven and carefully place the other half of a cracker on top of the marshmallows and line them up with your other crackers. And then very carefully pick them up and separate them. You can set them on your table or however, so that the marshmallows don't all melt into each other, and then it makes it really hard to separate, which is what happens. It's exactly what happens. Then you can either eat them like that, like if you're having a party, you can take them out and just like pass them out to kids, whatever. Or you can wrap them in wax paper and just make a little wax paper packet, wrap them up and seal the seam with tape. And they last for a couple days. They stay good and they're still crunchy and everything and still delicious. So this is a fun thing to do if you're with your kids, grandkids, or whatever. And it's also a great thing to take to a party, which is what I'm doing with the batch that I just now made. The last batch that I made, I tested them out on some youth group kids, and they were a big success. Everybody loved them. And you know how those youth group kids are. I mean, they'll eat anything, but they'll also tell you if it's not good. So they'll still eat it, but they'll say, that wasn't no good. That was terrible. They liked them, though, so there you go. So these are, like I said, these are like a really nice thing to make. They're really easy to make, and you get 30 if you use a half sheet. So big return on a few ingredients. I hope you give them a try and let me know what you think.
And make sure to check us out online on social media at Mary Mac Bakehouse and on our website, marymacbakehouse.com.
Thanks a lot for listening if you did, and if you didn't, too bad for you.